there, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today I'll be taking a look at the brand new issue of WONT to CANT. This is part 2. I think it's of a 3-part series. I reviewed number 1 a while ago. I don't remember how long ago, but this is a series by McKay and Gavin Owens, produced by Cold Cube Press, which is a risograph studio. So a really, really beautifully produced risograph job. It's got this nice foil on the cover. It's been a while since I've read the first one, so it took me a while to get back into what the story was about here. But we've got this kind of fantastical world going on where there's like a religious cult and there's a bard character that is kind of accidentally leading a revolution from them is kind of the setup. I don't want to get too much into the story and give too much away because it's a book that just came out, and I definitely think you should grab yourself a copy. There's not, I think it said 450 of these are made. I have a note on that in the back. But you can see right here just the 3 colors that are being used separated out. You've got the black and then the orange and then this kind of like greenish blue color here. Make a really cool op art opening. And here you see just pretty much the colors being used, and I really, really like that look. This whole diagram here is really cool, and this right here feels very psychedelic, and I think it's a beautiful look. When the darker color comes in, then it goes back to looking more like a standard European kind of clean line comic. But this is one of the characters that I didn't quite remember from the first one. But there's these balls that are going around that are kind of like communication balls, and so she's getting a communication. This character, Harold, seems to be the main character. He was like a bard, and he was getting involved in the first book in this religious cult led by an abbot who's an obsessive exerciser, and we'll take a look at him in a minute. But now there's a group of people that are kind of on a revolutionary pilgrimage to battle the monks, or burst off the constraints that are put on them by the religious society that they live in. You can see all the kind of cool effects that they're playing in the art with the risograph process and the layering of the colors and creating other colors out of mixing them, but also getting see-through effects, and lines can be colored or not colored, and they use that to great impact throughout the book for design purposes. Here you can see this abbot who's like he's a fitness monk. That's like almost his religion, but the other monks in his abbot are starting to question him as a leader, and he doesn't seem as concerned about the threat from the peasantry as they are. So you see him working out. So it's a very strange little world that they're building, but quite a bit of fun. And then you get pages like this where they just go straight to the line work. It's a really interesting way to do almost like 2 montages at once. Like you can show what's going on like with the peasants at the same time as you can show what's going on inside of another place inside of the abbey. I don't think that's all exactly what's going on in here, but it strikes me as there's a lot of potential in here to tell multiple stories at once or kind of layer up meaning. Like here you have a character that's just completing an action, but then what he's smacking on here are people that are throwing stuff at a wall over here, so he's obviously not hitting them. But there's also some kind of suggestion of maybe animosity between those 2 characters. And I think those kind of things present new formal opportunities that I'm not sure I've seen taken advantage of in comics. And so that's always really inspiring to me, even if it's not exactly what they're doing here. So there's just all kinds of cool stuff like that in this book. Like I said, I'm not going to get into it much more than that, other than take a look at it. It's really beautiful. The story's wild, wacky, and fun. It's not like anything you've ever seen, but it's not like nonsense either. It all congeals, and there is a kind of a plot and a sense to it as well. And then here you can see that this is the first edition is 460 copies, so I'm sure this is going to sell out pretty quick. I would head over to Cold Cube Press and get yourself a copy of it, because it's a really beautiful book. And I think there's one more issue to this that's coming, and then the series would be complete. I don't know if it's going to be all collected or not, but if you can get yourself part 1 and part 2, if you don't have part 1, definitely do that. You won't be disappointed. If you enjoy what we're doing here on the channel and you want to support us, there's 2 ways to do that. First is through our Patreon. We have 2 different tiers of engagement there. Any of the money that we make from Patreon just goes into helping us buy the books that we review. That lets us keep going with the channel and helps us put money back into other creators and publishers' pockets. So that's great for everybody, and we appreciate it. If you want to support Living the Line itself, the best thing to do is to buy a book from Sean from Living the Line Publishing. So we'll go ahead and take a look at one of those now.
Like and subscribe and hit the bell, please, so Carson can finish reading his books and let me go home.